see my screen now? Kita na yung slide? Yes.
Yes
Can you see it?
po.
Okay. Sige. Thank you. Turn on your cameras. Thank you very much. So let's start. So our lecture for this morning, for the next 2 hours, will be focusing on the adrenal gland, the thyroid, parathyroid, and renal. So 4 organs tayo. Okay, so let's start first. I want to start with this because this is quite, I don't know, complicated, complex, but hopefully magets natin. Okay, so this is my slide. Actually, it's a combination of a lot of hormone slides. So we'll just pass on some slides. Adrenocortical hormones. Okay, so we'll start with this. So, ayan. So your adrenocortical hormones probably comes from your cholesterol. So if you would look at your adrenocortical hormones, they actually have the same kind of structure wherein yung four rings natin, no, doon sa ating cholesterol is can also be seen with these cortical hormones. Now, I would not be asking you about this one, but of course, I would like you to be familiarized doon sa mga adrenal cortex hormone natin, especially with the ones that we will be discussing this morning. So here's an overview of how your adrenal hormones are stimulated. Okay, so they act on your G protein receptors. So here, ka lang. Mag-ano lang tayo, pen, and okay. So here we have the what do you call this? Synthesis of your adrenal hormone. So the like a generalized concept is your hormone. So an activator, okay, will be attached to your G protein receptors and it will send secondary messengers to activate the release of a particular steroid hormone or your adrenocortical hormone. So in this case, your G protein increases your activation of your G protein receptors, activates your adenylate cyclase, which will increase your cyclic AMP. Activation of your cyclic AMP also increases your protein kinases, okay, which allows phosphorylation of your molecules inside your cell. Okay, now you will see here on the other image, okay, this is a lipoprotein receptor. So a lipoprotein attaches to your cell. So it could be either of your four lipoproteins, okay, but most commonly you will have there your LDL, your chylomicrons, so the ones that will allow the release of particularly cholesterol into the cell. So here in your adrenal gland. Okay, so the transport of cholesterol into the cell allows this cholesterol to be transported within your mitochondria. Okay, now here in the within your outer, okay, and inner membrane of your mitochondria, you have what we call your star protein. Star protein means a steroidogenic acute regulatory protein, which allows the entry of your cholesterol into your mitochondria. Now, inside the mitochondria, specific steps happens, which one of this is the most important step. Now, your rate limiting step, your initial and your rate limiting step, which is the conversion of your cholesterol to your pregnenolone facilitated by your P450 side chain cleavage enzyme. Okay? Now, later on, you will see, no, marami tayong types of steroid hormone. But for every steroid hormone, for example, you want to synthesize cortisol. Okay, the particular activator is your ACTH. Wait lang ha. I'll just go back to the other slide. So here you will see, meron siyang mga certain stimuli para ma-release siya. For example, as I have mentioned earlier, with your cortisol, this one, okay, the hormone that is needed, okay, to attach to your G protein is your ACTH. if an aldosterone is to be synthesized, then the stimulatory hormone should be an angiotensin 2 and your angiotensin 3. So it depends on the hormone, that steroid hormone that you want the body to synthesize, no? So kailangan meron siyang particular na stimulant. So after that, so once your cholesterol is converted to your pregnenolone, it will undergo a series of events, will later on release this particular hormone. So again, it depends on the activator. So if it is an ACTH that attaches to the hormone, then the steroid hormone that will be produced is your cortisol. Nagigets ba? Class, nakakasunod. Okay, if it's an angiotensin, then steroid hormone that will be released is your aldosterone. Nakuha? Yes or no? Nakasunod? Tungo lang, no? Or thumbs up. Okay? So next. Ayan. So this is a better table showing us your different steroid hormones. Okay, we also have here your vitamin D. Now we have discussed this one before during your lipid soluble vitamin lecture, right? But this is you can take a screenshot if you want. No, kasi hindi na naman ako nakapagbigay ng PDF. This is a table showing us the signal, the specific signal, and the secondary messenger. Okay, which you need to memorize, by the way, no? And especially these two hormone. Kasi ito yung ating hormone focused for this particular lecture. Your cortisol, your aldosterone, and later on we'll have another one. Okay? So I want you to memorize this, at least this one. So as you can see, as I've been mentioning a while ago, the signal or the hormone depends on the signal that your G protein has. Okay? So, eto. So, yun nga, sinabi ko kanina, this one, we have a very specific pathway wherein your cortisol is released. But the general pathway, it's the same. You have here your hormone that will be attached to your G protein, activates adenylate cyclase, which will increase your cyclic AMP. Increasing your cyclic AMP releases your protein kinase A, which will allow phosphorylation of your proteins. And then, no, the cholesterol that was transported, okay, enters the cell. This will now inside your mitochondria will undergo a side chain cleavage process. So your cholesterol is converted into your pregnenolone. So that's the rate limiting step and the initial step. So then it will undergo a series of events wherein later on synthesizes your cortisol and release into your circulation. Another image showing us now the activation of your aldosterone. Okay, so your aldosterone needs your angiotensin 2 and 3. Now, what does your aldosterone do? Sige nga, ano ba ang ginagawa ng aldosterone?
Sodium reabsorption.
Okay, sodium reabsorption, no? So that's the main activity of your aldosterone. So once you have sodium reabsorption, what happens in consequence of that? Pag nagkaroon ka ng sodium reabsorption sa body. Where salt goes, what follows?
Water
Mhm.
follows.
Okay. Where salt goes, water follows, no? So, ang gagawin ng salt, kasi dahil nag-retain ka ng salt, ang tendency ng katawan mo, i-reabsorb also yung water. So, it is meant especially for patients who have low volume levels, low water levels, or low blood pressure, yung mga ganyan. No? So, yun yung ginagawa ng aldosterone natin. So, it's basically activated when your, what do you call this? When you have a low blood volume level in your body. Okay? So, wait lang, class. Ha? Sandali. Wait. Okay. Okay. Just to be sure. Next. May gumalaw. Kaya mag-move. Okay. Ayan. Okay. So here on the right side of the screen, you will see the synthesis of your mineralocorticoids, glucocorticoids, and your androgen. So pag sinabi mong glucocorticoid, usually it allows an increase of your glucose. And then when you have your mineralocorticoids, diba? This is your aldosterone, it acts on your minerals, so particularly the sodium. And then you have your androgens, which is responsible as a precursor or acts as a precursor for your sex hormones, which were initially discussed this morning. Tama ba? Alala niyo ba? Okay. So, class, you can take a screenshot of this, but I want you to listen carefully kasi I will teach you how to memorize the pathway. No, na hindi na kayo magme-memorize of the book. Diba? Okay. So, yan. So let's start first with the rate limiting step, okay? Which is the conversion of your cholesterol to your pregnenolone. Paano ba tinatanggal tong ano to? Yung parang tab dun sa taas na nandito yung audio. Kasi kaharang siya sa screen ko. Kasi ibababa ko na lang siya. Hindi ako kaharang siya dun sa slide. So anyway, ayan. So we start here with your cholesterol. Okay. Catalyzed by your side chain cleavage, which is your P450 enzyme, converting your cholesterol to your pregnenolone. Now, from your pregnenolone, doon magbabago yung ating pathway. Depende sa enzyme na present. Nakakasunod? Okay. So, let's focus first on the leftmost. So, your pregnenolone will be acted by your 3-beta hydroxysteroid dehydrogenase and your 5,4 isomerase. Okay? So, what happens there? After your pregnenolone is converted to your it's catalyzed by your hydroxysteroid dehydrogenase and your isomerase will form your progesterone. What happened here? Okay? So, si hydroxyl group, di ba? Itong hydroxyl na to, dehydrogenase siya. So, magre-remove tayo ng, pag dehydrogenase, we remove a, what? What do we remove? Your, sige. Dehydrogenase. Ano yung tatanggalin natin sa sa compound natin. Based on this image, look at your hydroxyl group. And then, look at what happened. Oh. So, dehydrogen. What atom was removed? Anong tinatanggal natin? Yung?
Hydrogen.
Correct, yung hydrogen, di ba? Kasi nga, dehydrogen. It's an ACE. Pag ACE, di ba, enzyme. It's an ACE that removes your hydrogen from your hydroxysteroid. Okay? So, the hydroxyl part was removed. Okay, the hydrogen was removed, so you're left with an oxygen. And then you have an isomerase. Diba, an isomerase is just an enzyme that moves yung mga electrons within that compound. So here, the double bond was moved to another side. Yung 4-5, 5-4 isomerase nyo. So it's on carbon 4 and carbon 5. Okay, so that is your progesterone. And then you will have at carbon 21 a hydroxylase. Okay, so here you added a hydroxyl group. That is now called your deoxycorticosterone. Okay, 11 deoxycorticosterone. And then on carbon 11, you will add another hydroxyl group. So this one. So now you have your corticosterone. The last but not the least would be, naiirita talaga ako sa tab na to. Okay, would be your 18 hydroxylase. So meaning on your carbon 18, you'll have a hydroxylase, addition of your hydroxyl group, plus a removal of your hydrogen. Okay, so eto siya. nagkaroon ka ng COH. Sorry. And then you have your aldosterone. So what's the step? Okay, so you have your pregnenolone, progesterone, and then deoxycorticosterone, corticosterone, and then your aldosterone. Okay, so lahat yan may mga own yan sa dulo. Now, you have 5 steps there. So in each of this, you'll have an enzyme. So first, later on, mamememorize yun yung enzyme kasi I will be repeating those enzymes. But for now, diba, let's be familiarized already with the enzyme. On the first part, this is your pregnenolone. On the first part, you have your hydroxy steroid dehydrogenase isomerase, and then dalawang hydroxylase in the middle. You have your 21 and you have your 11. Okay, and then on the last, you have another you have another hydroxylase rather, and your dehydrogenase. Okay, so on the first and the last, you have a dehydrogenase always. Here, dehydrogenase isomerase. Here, dehydrogenase hydroxylase. And then on the middle, you have 2 hydroxylases, right? You just have to remember na lang the carbons. Tapos you have here pregnenolone, progesterone, and then deoxycorticosterone, corticosterone, and then aldosterone. The names are highly connected. No? You can connect them. So it's a bit easy to memorize. Now, we're done with this step, right? I want you to look now on the middle image. Okay? So ano yung nasa gitna natin? Mag-iba naman tayo. Sige, ito na lang, red pa rin. Okay, so you have here, once you go to the right, okay, you have a hydroxylase. So I'll just move this tab again. Can I remove ba to? Enable, hide names, hide video panel. Hide floating controls. I think, sige. Now, so going back, so this enzyme is your 17 alpha hydroxylase. So when you have a 17 alpha hydroxylase, you add a hydroxyl group at carbon 17. So this one. Okay? So from pregnenolone, pag nilagyan mo siya ng hydroxyl, magiging hydroxypregnenolone siya. Okay? Nag-iba lang yung name niya. Nilagyan mo siya ng hydroxyl group, so naging hydroxypregnenolone. Now, we have to go down. So when you go down, okay, you have there again your dehydrogenase isomerase. So when you memorize this, it's better if you can like redraw the pathway on your paper. You don't have to redraw the structure, but it's better if you can. Pero kung hindi kaya, okay lang. Okay, but in order kasi to have that very good visual memory, diba? You have to draw it. Okay, so and then so you have your 17 alpha hydroxylase, and then going down again, you have your 3 beta hydroxysteroid dehydrogenase isomerase. So from your hydroxypregnenolone, you go down to your hydroxyprogesterone. Same, pregnenolone, progesterone. Dahil lang nagkaroon ka ng 17 alpha hydroxylase in the middle, naging hydroxypregnenolone, yung susunod niya, hydroxyprogesterone. Right? Now, so you will see here this rectangular shape. Ayan, ang pangit lang, no? It means the substrate of your 17 alpha hydroxylase could be pregnenolone or progesterone. So if pregnenolone is hydroxylated, it becomes a 17 hydroxypregnenolone. If the progesterone is hydroxylated, then it becomes a hydroxyprogesterone, 17 hydroxyprogesterone. Naintindihan ba, class? So you move the arrow to the right, going to the right. Okay? If you cannot understand, please send text me in the chat box. Okay, private message is okay. So we're done here. 17 hydroxypregnenolone, 17 hydroxyprogesterone. So the next two are the same. Okay? You have your 21 hydroxylase, wherein you will add a hydroxyl group on your carbon 21, and then you have your 11 hydroxylase, wherein you will add a hydroxyl group to your carbon 11. So you have your deoxycortisol and your cortisol. Nasusundan, class? Nakakasunod ba? Okay. So dapat memorize. Nakaka-memorize na tayo. Paano, no? So Going back, you have your cholesterol, pregnenolone. So pregnenolone can either go down or go to your right. So pag nag-go down yan, you start with dehydrogenase, hydroxysteroid dehydrogenase, and your isomerase. So ano ba yung five na substrates natin? You have your pregnenolone, progesterone, deoxycortisone, corticosterone, and then you have your aldosterone. So going down, you have your dehydrogenase isomerase, you have your 21 hydroxylase, 11 hydroxylase. So sabi ko kanina dehydrogenase ulit to, right? So you have your dehydrogenase and your hydroxylase ulit. Okay, so those are your enzymes. Now, when your pregnenolone goes to the right, you have a 17 alpha hydroxylase first. And then you still have the same pregnenolone, pero hydroxypregnenolone, progesterone, pero hydroxyprogesterone. Instead of deoxycortisone, you have your deoxycortisol. Okay? Instead of deoxycorticosterone, sorry, you have your deoxycortisol. Cortisol. So that's the last one. But it's the same enzymes, 21 hydroxylase, 11 beta hydroxylase. The same lang siya. And then, after we go here, from your hydroxypregnenolone and hydroxyprogesterone, if you move further to the right, we now form your androgens, the precursor for your androgens. If you go to the right, you have a lipase. Okay, so it's your 1720 lipase. Okay, so here you form now your dehydroepiandrosterone or your androstenedione. So yung sa androgen nyo lang yung maiiba, but the rest is the same. You just have to add. Susundan ba, class? O ako lang yung nadadalian? Nagets nyo ba? Nagets nyo ba? Ha? Kasi gusto ko sana ma-memorize siya, di ba? Para, no, kasi class, it's not just for your exams, but also in the board exam, this is high yield. No? So dapat ngayon memorize nyo na siya. Even in physio, I think this would be useful for you. No? So, when you draw this, okay, you just I don't know, no? But for me kasi it's quite easy to memorize kasi nako-connect ko na yung names. You connect the names and the enzymes, then basically you will be able to memorize it. So I'll give you 1 minute to memorize and then I will ask you something. Okay? So sige, memorize nyo lang siya. No? Sige, 2 minutes, memorize nyo lang. Gawa kayo ng, ewan ko, mnemonics, no? Baka ako kasi, yung name, na-attach ko siya. Parang ganun, connected. So, I'll keep quiet for 2 minutes, try to memorize. Okay na? Ready na? Kaya niyo yan. Sige, alamin muna natin yung functions ng ating mga steroid hormones before we proceed. Sabi natin, aldosterone, it's a mineralocorticoid and it reabsorbs sodium. So if you reabsorb sodium, you reabsorb water, So basically, you increase the volume of your fluid volume in the body, right? Understood? Cortisol is for glucose, no? For glucose naman siya. Okay? Yung androstenedione natin, it's for what do you call this? Hormones, right? Yung mga sex hormones natin. Okay? So, ano bang, teka lang ha, I just have to make sure na yung next slide ko will not give away the, oh no, hindi, maano na siya agad, mag-give away na siya. Okay? So kasi, class, what we will be doing right now is just a very, very short activity. It's not graded. Okay? But I want you to try. Okay? Try, ha? Ayoko nang idok, baka mahirap. Ganyan. Mahirap talaga siya sa umpisa. No? But you have to try. You have to give me your best. I will not remove the ano. I will not remove that slide. I will not remove that screen. You have to be able to answer my questions. Sige. So, in this way, makikita natin kung naintindihan ba. Now, so we're already familiar with the hormones. Now, my question is, paano kapag nawala itong hormone na to? Let us remove 3-beta-hydroxysteroid dehydrogenase isomerase. Tell me, what will happen to, number one, to the level of your aldosterone? Will it be increased, decreased, or the same level? What will happen to the level of your aldosterone, your mineralocorticoid? Increase, decreased, or wala, same lang? So, okay, may mga nagpa-private, yung iba diretso sa ano. So, okay, so mostly what I got is decreased. Okay, so your answer here is decreased. O yung iba mag-answer din, ha? Para kung mali yung sagot nyo, okay lang. Kasi ngayon pwede pa kayo magkamali. Diba? Kasi hindi naman quiz. Eh, paano pala kung tama yung sagot nyo? Eh, di sayang, hindi nyo na-post. No? Okay, so sabi nyo, decreased. Next, what will happen now to the level of your cortisol? Yung glucocorticoid natin. Same question. Increase, decrease, or wala? Normal lang din. Okay. So I'm getting the same answers. Okay. 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 So according to the class, it's decreased. Now, so decrease for aldosterone, decrease for cortisol. Next, how about your androgens, no? Si dehydroepiandrosterone and your androstenedione. What will happen if your 3-beta-hydroxysteroid dehydrogenase is absent? Will it be increased? Ito ha, itong dalawang to. Remember, these two, parang they enter both, di ba? Both of them enters as precursor for your steroid, for your sex hormone. So, what will happen to your androgens? Increase, decrease, or remain the same? Okay, decreased daw. So, kung decreased to, ano ba yung hormone na napoproduce nito? Usually, estrogen and testosterone. Anong hormone ang napoproduce ng androstenedione and your dehydroepiandrosterone? Now, of course, the product will be usually both, right? Estrogen and your testosterone. But what's the usual, what do you call this? Yung effect niya. You can type it in the chat box if you like. Ano yung nasi-synthesize from your dehydroepiandrosterone and your androstenedione? Walang nagko-comment. Okay, I see someone commented already. Yeah, what type of your androgens? Okay? Medyo may mga conflicting ano ako dito. Di ba nag-sex hormone na kayo? Sige. Okay. Sige. Actually, the correct answer is your testosterone. No, testosterone siya. Di ba testosterone after your androstenedione and your dihydroepiandrostenedione, it's your testosterone, right? So, it's your testosterone. So, bababa si androgen. Wait lang, class. Okay, bababa si androgen nyo. And then, kung mababa si testosterone, what do you think will be the gender of your infant? Kung mababa si testosterone, okay, so female. Usually, class, alam niyo ba to, na ang fetus, it's, anong tawag doon? Default female. Kapag ka nag-stimulate lang ng testosterone, dun lang siya nagiging male. Right? Tama? Okay, so it's a default female. So pag bumaba ang androgen mo, magkakaroon ka ng mga female, So, but hindi ko sinasabing tama yung decrease, ha? No? I'm just saying that what will happen if yung nagsistimulate ang testosterone mo, bababa, no? Since ang default gender ay female, so more or less may higit. So your answer is, if your hydroxysteroid dehydrogenase is inhibited, decrease aldosterone, decrease cortisol, and decrease androgen, wherein we have a more female. Right? Sige. How about if we inhibit the next one? Mag-iba naman tayo ng ng ink. Okay, green. Kasi I would like to inhibit this one, 21 hydroxylase. Okay, so you have a 21 hydroxylase. If I inhibit 21 hydroxylase, let's go back to your aldosterone. What will happen? Increase, decrease, the same. Not affected, parang ganon. Okay. So, wait. Pag hormone, ganyan-ganyan lang naman ang question natin. Wait lang, sunod-sunod. Okay, so decrease daw. Charity says decrease. So kung ano yung ginamit ko, yun din yung ink natin. Cortisol, increase, decrease, the same. Cortisol, increase, decrease, the same. Okay, so I'm getting the same answers. Okay, next. Androgens. Increase, decrease, the same. Androgens, ito, yung nasa right natin. Okay, may same, increase. Tignan natin kung ano yung mas marami. Okay, so same daw. Okay, so I think majority says the same. There were some who said increased. There were some who said the same. So if it's the same, I will just put equal. Okay? But let us also consider na merong nagsabi ng increase. Wala naman nagsabi ng decreased eh. So let us consider both. Ano pa ba? How about ito pa? Change ink ulit. 11, yung 11 beta hydroxylase. So let's use a blue one. This one. Okay. Aldosterone. Increase, decrease, the same. 11 beta hydroxylase. Increase, decrease, the same. Okay, the same answer tayo. I mean, I get the same responses. So it's decreased daw. How about cortisol? Okay, so same answers, decrease daw. How about, androgens? Increase, decrease, the same. Okay, mostly same. Walang nagsabi ng, ayan, may increase. walang decreased. Okay. So, ganun din, no? Yung sa merong equal or the same, merong increase. So far, walang nagsasabi ng decreased. Okay. Last but not the least, ito kasi yung mga usual na lumalabas, no? Kaya I'm asking you na, let's have a different color. The last one that I will be removing is your 17 alpha hydroxylase. The yellow one. Can you see the yellow one? Okay. If your 17 alpha hydroxylase is inhibited, what will be your aldosterone? If your 17 alpha hydroxylase is inhibited, what will be the level of your aldosterone? Increase, aldosterone ha, itong nandito sa leftmost. Aldosterone, increase, decrease, the same. Okay. Oh, I get 3 answers. Merong nag-decrease. Am I right? Oh yeah. I see decrease, I see same, but I also see increased. Ayun. Right. So may increase, so halo-halo. Okay, so I'll put all. You said all of the above. So for your aldosterone, there were increases, there were decreases. So we will settle this. And there's the same. Next, how about cortisol? Increase, decrease, the same. Cortisol, here, the one in the middle. Your deficiency is your 17 alpha hydroxylase. Decrease, decrease. Oy, don't cheat ha. Kasi dito natin malalaman kung nagigets nyo ba. So, mostly decreased. Where's my cursor? I can see my cursor. Yun. Decreased. Last but not the least, your sex hormones, androgens. 17 alpha hydroxylase is inhibited. Look at your 17 alpha hydroxylase. Nasan ba siya? Increase, decrease, the same. Okay. So we have decreased, mostly decreased. I think everybody agrees with decreased. Okay. Now, let's see. Okay. So when we decrease your aldosterone, so you take a picture. You take a picture of this and then you comment. Say I will be showing on the next slide the results. No? Para makita niya. Okay. So, okay. Parang hindi naman kayo na-excite, no? Ako lang yung na-excite. Okay. So, wait lang. Ayan na naman niya mag-move. Okay. So, we start with 3-beta hydroxysteroid dehydrogenase. So, the class said that aldosterone will decline, cortisol will decline, and androgens decline. Right? No? Tama naman. Diba? Ayan, yung red. So, with the red, everything is decreased. So, let's see. So, virtually, there are no glucocorticoids. Oh, sorry. Change tayo ng There are no glucocorticoids, no mineralocorticoids, or active androgens or estrogen. So, kung wala kang, glucocorticoids, ano naman yan, sa glucose. Yung mineralocorticoids mo kasi, if you don't have your mineralocorticoids, so there wouldn't be salt absorption, right? So, ano sinabi dito? There is salt excretion in the urine. Because of the absence of androgen, okay, there is no stimulation or synthesis of your testosterone. So there is a female-like genitalia. You understand? Class, nagets ba? Kaya ako gusto sana na parang when we answer kanina, as much as possible, di ba, huwag kayo mag-check sa internet kasi nga, tindihan nyo kung ba't ganito yung nangyari sa patient, right? Well, actually, even without memorizing it, right? Next, 17 alpha ay hindi. 21 muna tayo kasi pababa. Di ba, we went down first. 21 alpha hydroxylase deficiency. So, remember, this is the most common form of your CAH. No, ano mo yung sabihin ng CAH? Corticoadrenal hyperplasia. Ito pala, congenital adrenal hyperplasia. Okay? So, this is the most common. Now, 21 alpha hydroxylase, let's go here. So, it's the green one. So, aldosterone is decreased, cortisol is decreased. This is according to the class. Okay? And nagkaroon ng split when it comes to the androgen levels. No, it's either increased or equal. Okay, ano yung sinabi dito? Your 21 alpha hydroxylase deficiency, partially or virtually complete deficiencies are known. Mineralocorticoids and glucocorticoids are virtually absent. Understand natin yun, di ba? Naintindihan natin kung bakit virtually absent si mineralocorticoid and glucocorticoid. Why? Kasi si 21 hydroxylase yung ininhibit natin. Right? Di ba? Si 21 hydroxylase yung ininhibit natin. Ito oh. So it basically blocks the synthesis of your aldosterone and your cortisol. Last wait lang ha. I just have to reply to this. Okay po. Okay. So we don't have any problems with that. The next question is your androgens. Ang sinabi dito sa next slide is overproduction of androgen leads to masculinization of external genitalia in females and early virilization in males. Why is it increased? Because class, di ba na-inhibit to? So basically, all of your substrates, instead of them being distributed as to a mineralocorticoid and glucocorticoid, lahat sila ngayon increased to the right. So, nag-increase yung androgen levels mo. Okay? So, dahil nag-increase yung androgen levels mo, testosterone increase. Now, in female, nagkakaroon siya ng masculinity. In males, hindi kayo nagiging more masculine. No? Pag tumaas yung testosterone levels yun, no? Hindi kayo lalo nagiging manly. Males undergo virilization. Okay, early virilization in males. So, hindi kayo nagiging parang Superman, no? Baka naisip niyo nagiging Superman kayo pag tumaas yung testosterone levels niyo, no? No, hindi. Okay, there would be early virilization, but in females, okay, there is a masculinization. Kasi nga, tumaas yung testosterone level niya. Pag sa female kasi, we still have that testosterone level, but it's very, very low compared with the estrogen. No, estrogens are high for females. Next. Next is your 11 beta hydroxylase deficiency. Let's go back. 11 beta hydroxylase deficiency is the blue arrow or the blue ink. So for your aldosterone, it's decreased and cortisol is decreased. So I think medyo clear tayo doon, no? It's the androgens again. So it's basically the same. Dito tayo sa next slide para mas kita natin. 11 beta hydroxylase. So decreased in serum cortisol, aldosterone, and corticosterone. Increased production of your deoxycorticosterone. Causes fluid retention. So overproduction of androgens pa rin tayo. Okay, there will still be overproductions of androgens. Now, clinically, when you have decreased aldosterone, usually nagdi-decrease yung blood pressure ng pasyente. Low BP tayo kasi low blood volume. Right? So, ayun lang yung mga gusto kong maalala nyo. Ano pa ba? Ano yung nalimutan natin? Isa, yung 17 alpha hydroxylase. The one on the middle. This one. 70, the yellow ones. So, according dito, the aldosterone, medyo nagkaroon tayo ng problem, no? Parang hating-hating class. It's increase, decrease, and the same. Cortisol, medyo united, decreased, and even with your androgens, it's decreased. So, let's see. So, in the next slide, sabi dyan, virtually no sex hormones is produced. So, correct tayo, no? Your androgens or ano, it's you have a female-like genitalia again. Cortisols are also decreased. Diba? Kasi siya yung nasa gitna eh. That's the only enzyme that will allow you to move to the right and produce your cortisol and your androgens. No? Yung mga nasa kanang hormones nyo. Our problem was the aldosterone. So, increased production of mineralocorticoids. Okay? Bakit? Kasi, just like what I have explained earlier, since this one is blocked, all of your pregnenolone are destined to be an aldosterone. So, nag-i-increase yung aldosterone mo, increase yung sodium retention mo, what happens? Anong sinabi sa slide? Therefore, causes sodium retention, water follows, and therefore, patients have hypertension. Do you understand, class? Nagets nyo ba? Diba? It's fun. No? So, yun yung ating discussion for your cortisol and your cortical glands. I think, ito dapat yung explanation ko eh. This one is for your sex hormones. So, di ko na siya kailangan i-discuss. Yeah. Na-discuss na yung catecholamines, right? No? Kanina? No? So, we'll just focus on the cortex. This is in the, in the medulla. So, what we have just discussed is your cortex. So, please also remember in what sites you will see the synthesis of your cortisol, aldosterone, and yung inyong um, androgens, 'di ba? Pagka yung zona glomerulosa or yung ating mineralocorticoids rather sa glomerulosa. Kapag yung glucocorticoids, it's in your fasciculata. Okay? Reticular. Glucocorticoids reticular. Wait. Glucocorticoids fasciculata, mineralocorticoids glomerulosa, androgens reticularis. Okay? No? So, you have to memorize that. Okay? Tapos, those are your steroid hormones. Sa cortex sila. Yung mga catecholamines sa yung mga epi and norepinephrine sa medulla yan. Okay? So, we're done with the steroids. O, di ba? So, gusto niyo makinig lang kayo sa akin. Maintindihan niyo siya. Okay? Kaysa ang pangalan nito? Basta, naman yung ginagawa niyo. Okay? So, my next slide would be ano ba yung discuss ko? Renal hormones or thyroid? What do you want? Wait. So, na akong battery. I think we can discuss your thyroid. Entire thyroid. You want to rest? 5 minutes? Ha? Or wag na? Kasi nag-rest na tayo kanina. Want to rest? Overwhelming ba yung steroid hormones? Overwhelming ba? Hindi naman. Sige. You can rest while I'm preparing the slides. Okay. So, thyroid hormones. So, apologies for the slide, class, no? Ito pa ang slide kong mga kauna-unahang panahon. Okay? So, rest assured na will also be fun and interesting. Okay? So, this is the synthesis. So, today, for this morning, the second lecture would be your thyroid hormones. I decided to make the renal hormones last kasi it's related to your vitamin D, which we have discussed also. This is also related somehow with your vitamin D, no, yung regulation ng yung parathyroid hormone. Okay, but we will be running down. So here we have the synthesis of, let's start with your thyroid hormone. So this is the structure of your thyroid hormone. It starts with your tyrosine. Okay, so what happens is your tyrosine will undergo, an iodination process later on. Okay? So I would like you to focus on the next slide, especially kasi yung next slide natin will be on the synthesis of your thyroid hormones. Wait lang ha, ayaw mo nag-move. Bakit ayaw niya mag Wait. Yan. Okay, so before we proceed, no, so as you see here, when your tyrosine undergoes iodination, it will either have a mono or a diiodotyrosine. From the name itself, when you say mono, meaning isang iodination lang yung nangyari, right? When you say diiodo, you have two iodine attached to your tyrosine. Right? No? So far, so good, class. Nakakasunod. Okay? So, now, later on, okay, these two molecules will combine. Okay? To form either your one mono and two diiodotyrosine. You have your T3, and then later on, or your T4, which is a combination of two DITs. Sa mga nalilito, it's just 1 plus 2 and 2 plus 2. Ganun lang siya. Okay? But what we're talking about is an iodide tyrosine, meaning a tyrosine molecule that underwent iodination. Nakasunod? Class? Okay. So, next. Okay. So, this is the step that is very important to you. Okay? So, this is an essential component of your lecture, the synthesis of your thyroid hormones. So, later on, baka lang kasi may mga maririnig kayong names, okay? So, your T3 is also known as your triiodothyronine. Your T4 is known as your tetraiodothyronine. Triiodothyronine, 3 iodine in your tyrosine molecule, and then tetraiodothyronine, 4 iodine molecules in your tyrosine molecule, okay? Another name of your tetraiodothyronine is your thyroxine, T4, okay? So they are unique classes of hormones because they need iodination process. Now, they need an iodine as part of their synthesis. Okay, so what happens here? So let us look at the image. So we have here your synthesis of your T4, your T3, and we also have your reverse T3. So the step one is the oxidation of your iodide. Okay, so your iodine first undergoes the oxidation process. And what happens here is it undergoes an increase of your valence status. Okay, and then later on, it will be attached to your tyrosine molecule. Okay? So far so good? Step 1 is okay? Okay, sige. Hindi kayo sumasagot class. No, you just say, okay po, ganyan. Tapos thumbs up, mga ganon-ganon lang. Okay? So the next step, first you have your oxidation of your iodine, as I mentioned earlier, and it is facilitated by your peroxidase. No? Kasi meron kang H2O2. Okay? That will help in the oxidation of your iodine. So once na nag-oxidize na yung iodine natin, wala pala ako cursor or pointer. Okay. So once your iodine undergoes oxidation process, what happens is you have now your attachment of your iodine, okay, or of your iodide molecule to your tyrosine. Okay? So the next step would be the iodination. Now, we have here your TGB. Do you know, who knows what TGB stands for? TGB is your thyroglobulin. Okay. Right? Okay. So, na-discuss na ba to sa inyo in other subjects? Physio? Parang ganon? Yes? Wow! So, ibig sabihin, madali na to for you. Right? Okay, good. I'm happy. So, your thyroglobulin is the precursor of your T4 and T3. So, it is a large, okay, and after it goes iodination, it becomes an iodide thyroglobulin, okay? So, usually the molecular weight of this is around 660 kilodaltons. So, it has two large subunits. It contains around 100 plus of your tyrosine residues, each of which is a potential site for the iodination process. Ganon siya. Ganon kalaki yung ating thyroglobulin. Okay? So what happens next? So once your thyroglobulin undergoes iodination, 70%, okay, of which will exist now in the form of your monoiodotyrosine or your MITs. Ito siya. Your diiodotyrosine or your DITs. So, nagkaroon tayo ng iodination process, okay? Now, the rest would be your iodothyronil residues. Okay? Now, once coupling occurs, when you say coupling, saan na tayo nagkakaroon ng combination of your of your MIT and the DIT or a DIT and another DITs, right? So if you have a coupling of an MIT and a DIT, then you will have your T3. Okay, still as you can see, majority of which is still in the MIT and the DIT form. No? So only a percentage of the iodinated part of your thyroglobulin will undergo coupling. So there will be your T3 and then DIT and a DIT will form a T4.
Order ka, anak.
Okay? So next, so once you have this thyroglobulin, wherein you already have your hormones T3 and T4, it will undergo uh, entry into the cell. Okay, so there would be endocytosis or your phagocytosis. Okay, so this one now, so inside your cell, it will be transported and it will be acted upon by your lysosomes. Lysosomes allows the release of your hormones, your T3 and your T4, while the remaining, no, yung mga MITs nyo and your DITs will undergo deiodination process. Following, okay? So, ito siya. T3 and T4 will be released into your extracellular space while the remaining MITs and DITs will undergo deiodination. So when we say deiodination, what happens? There is removal of the iodine molecule, right? Right? Okay. So this is facilitated by your deiodinase. So once that occurs, okay, what happens is yung iodine natin, this one, will be recycled back, okay, and undergoes an oxidation process again. Another way wherein your iodine can enter is through your sodium-potassium ATPase co-transporter. It allows also entry of your iodine, no, which are not recycled. So probably those that comes from your diet. Do you understand, class? No? So dito, kaya importante when it comes to your secretion or synthesis of your iodine, your T3 and T4 si iodine kasi nga it's needed in order for you to synthesize your T3 and your T4. Okay? So this one, the one on the left, I just read kasi an article before na sinasabi nila may mga hotspots daw. Ibig sabihin ng hotspots doon sa thyroglobulin na parang pag present itong amino acid sequence na ito, okay, kunyari si glutamine or aspartate tyrosine, okay, or serine, threonine, tyrosine, serine, yan. Pag present daw yung series na yan, or itong glutamine, itong X, any amino acids, no, and then your tyrosine. Once they are present in your thyroglobulin, yan daw yung hotspot na most likely maa-iodinate. So, it means that if the thyroglobulin contains these amino acids in this sequence, okay, yan yung most likely maa-iodinate. I wouldn't be asking that naman in your exam, but it's, nice to know na medyo specific din yung iodination process ng inyong thyroglobulin. Okay? So, next. Okay. So, how about the metabolism of your iodine or your T3 and T4? So, these are the major pathways for the deiodination of your thyroid hormones. Okay? So, once your T4 is released into the bloodstream, it undergoes certain conversions. 80% of which will be converted to T3, and then, kita niyo ba yung slide? Malinaw ba?
Yes po to, kita po.
Okay. Kasi ano sa akin parang akong naglalag, parang nag-flicker. Parang dahil lumalabas. Okay. So, as I have mentioned, your T4 will undergo two process or two steps. One will be your T3 and one is your reverse T3. So 20% will undergo a synthesis of your reverse T3 while majority undergoes a synthesis of your T3. Okay? So when your T4 is catalyzed or acted upon by your type 1 and 2 deiodinase, what happens is, okay, there will be removal of your iodine molecule at the outer 5 positions of your T4. When you say outer 5, yun yung away from your COOH, yung mga carboxyl group mo and your nitrogen group. Okay? So, ito siya. Okay? So, nagkakaroon ka ng removal. Nagets? No? So, your outer 5 prime. Because we have the 5 is the inner part, the 5 prime is the outer part. The 3 is the inner part, the 3 prime is the outer part. So your type 1 and type 2 deiodinase, in order for your tetroxine or your tetraiodothyronine to be converted to your T3, it is the outer 5 prime iodine that is removed. Now, with your reverse T3, okay, wherein 20% of your T4 will be converted, no? It's facilitated by your type 1 and 3 deiodinases. So what happens here? Look at the difference in the image. It is the inner 5, no, yung 5 without the prime. It's just a 5. Okay? 5 carbon that undergoes deiodination. So yung mga 3 and 3 prime mo, they are untouched. It's only your 5 and your 5 prime that removes, or that where your iodine is removed. Okay? So pag yung T3, which is the more active form, it's the outer, is a 5 prime. Okay? Pagka yung reverse T3, it's your 5. If you would look at the name, it will already give you a clue. Nagets? Kunyari yung 3, 5, 3 prime. So ano yung wala? Yung 5 prime. So yun yung na-deiodinate. Yung 3, 3 prime, 5 prime, ano yung nawala? Yung 5. So yun yung na-deiodinate. So that's your reverse T3. So it gives you a clue on, whether to identify, for if you are asked to identify, especially kung yung compound mo is a reverse or your active T3. Understood? Okay, next. Okay, so what is the importance of your thyroid hormone? So your thyroid hormone, okay, can have an effect on not just, a basic cytoplasmic effect, but also on the nuclear. So I am not sure, sa inyo ko ba na-mention to? So anyway, before we proceed, I just want for us to be able to understand the image. So you have here a DNA binding domain and a hinge domain. Okay? So this one contains your hormone response element. And then, yung ating receptor dito, bante. Okay. Ayun na naman niya mag-move. Wait lang, class, Naglolo ko yung aking dito. Okay. So, in your thyroid hormone receptors, we have 4 domains. Okay? You have the DNA binding domain, and the hinge domain. You have your ligand binding domain, wherein the thyroid hormone will bind to it. And then you have your transactivation domain, wherein you have your transcription factors. So yung 4 domains ng iyong thyroid receptors, you have the one that contains your hormone response elements, which is your DNA and your hinge domain, DNA binding and hinge domain, where your thyroid hormone attached, your ligand binding domain. So the name itself explains. And then where you have your transcription factors or transactivation factors domain. Okay, so as you can see here, once your thyroid hormone activates your nuclear receptors, it facilitates a prolonged effect, such as the growth, CNS development, no? Pero kapag hindi siya nuclear, usually more of parang mga immediate results siya, no? Yung mga metabolic processes natin, di ba? Okay, so later on you will see more of that. So this is what happens with your when your thyroid hormone binds to your nuclear receptors. So here, you have here your T3. T3 is your active hormone. I'll just check on my next slide kung na-explain ko ba siya. Meron ba ba ang iba explanation? Okay, so your T3 here enters your cytoplasm and then attaches to your thyroid receptors on the nucleus. Now, what happens here is that this thyroid receptor, we have here your COR, it means co-receptor, COA, co-activator, okay? And then you have here your retinoid X receptors. You have your, pinapangalanan lang muna natin, class, ha? You have your thyroid response element. You have your thyroid receptor. co-activator, and then transcription process. Okay, so what happens here? In the absence of your T3, your thyroid hormone, your co-repressor is bound to your thyroid receptor. Repressor, nagre-repress. So, inhibitory. Okay? When your T3 enters your nucleus, the co-repressor, ano tawag dito, natatanggal siya, it's removed from your thyroid hormone receptor. So what happens is, your T3 now, with your thyroid, ito, they are combined, no? Your T3 thyroid receptor complex now attaches to your co-activator to activate. Okay? Now, your T3 and TR complex, together with your co-activator, needs your RXR or your retinoid X receptor. Diba I've mentioned this one to you? Oo, kayo kasi yung lipid soluble vitamins. No? So your RXR, diba, it's a retinoid complex receptor. No? So retinoid X receptor siya. This complex is needed so that the thyroid hormone response elements will be activated. And with this, activates now your transcription process. So all of the effects of your thyroid hormones will be stimulated. Okay? So the image looks overwhelming, but it's basically, when you don't have your thyroid hormone, your co-repressor is there. Right? So inhibition. Wala kang action ng thyroid hormone. But once your thyroid hormone is present, your T3, it creates a complex with your receptor, no? Tapos mag-a-attach din si retinoid receptor and your co-activator, which allows your transcription to proceed. So maa-activate lahat ng metabolic process that is related to your thyroid hormone. Especially those that are needed for growth and development. Diba? Kasi yan yung prolong. Pag nuclear kasi, yung effect niya, yun nga, usually prolonged, no? Usually mga growth and development yan. Pero pagka hindi nuclear, usually pag cytoplasmic, metabolic, immediate effect, tapos usually mga short term siya. No? So, yan, CNS development, growth development siya. Now, okay, so here, again, don't get overwhelmed. No? This is an image showing us yung other effects, non-genomic action of your thyroid hormone. Okay, so this is your thyroid hormones. You have here your thyroid hormones. So it helps activate your adenylate cyclase or adenyl cyclase to increase your CAMP. And when you increase your CAMP, ano yung usual na nangyayari? So you have a series of metabolism. So usually, pagka-increase yung thyroid hormone natin, ano nangyayari? Nagkakaroon tayo ng increase of your lipolysis. Diba? Usually, payat yung mga patient na merong hyperthyroidism. Right? No? So even their temperature regulation is affected by patients who have a derangement in your thyroid hormone. Right? Hyperthyroidism, whether hyper or hypothyroidism. Later on, I will be showing you yung mga common na effects ng inyong thyroid hormones. Okay? Now, the next one would be your transport of your thyroid hormones. Okay? So, your thyroid hormones are considered as class 1 hormones, meaning they are hydrophobic. So, hindi sila masyadong water soluble, no? So, they are class 1 hormones. They are hydrophobic in nature. Hence, they are not very soluble in your plasma. So, under normal circumstances, these hormones binds, no, through your TBGs, okay, your thyroxine binding globulins, okay, and which nearly binds all of your T4 and T3 in your plasma with greater affinity to your T4 rather than your T3. Kasi yung T3 mo, usually siya yung active, di ba? So, it gets bound to your receptors wherein your metabolic processes and your genomic effects occur. Okay? So, yun lang siya. So, how is your thyroid hormone regulated? So, we have different hormones that are responsible for the regulation of your thyroid hormones. You have your TRH or your thyrotropin releasing hormone. This thyrotropin releasing hormone is released by your hypothalamus, and it acts on your thyrotropes in order to release your TSH. Okay? TSH, your thyrotropin, or also known as your thyroid stimulating hormone, right? TSH, right? So it is released by your anterior pituitary gland. And this hormone acts on your thyroid follicles to increase or to regulate, rather, the synthesis of your T4s and your T3s, your thyroid hormones. So far, so good? Okay? So, ano ba yung usual na nangyayari kapag ka sa mga hormones natin? Wala na pala. So, usually, if you have an increase of your T3 and T4, physiologically, what happens? Pag nag-i-increase yung level ng thyroid hormones mo, this products what? Releases a negative feedback mechanism to your enzymes. Right? No? So, mag-i-inhibit siya ng certain enzymes. For example, it can inhibit your TSH. Kasi, bakit? Yung hormone na yon, bakit? Kasi it's the one directly related to the release or the synthesis of your thyroid hormones. Right? Pwedeng yun, no? Or it could also affect your hypothalamus. Wherein, the one responsible to release your thyrotropin releasing hormone. Right? No? So sa mga hormones natin, that's how they regulate. No? So they usually send a negative feedback mechanism so that the release of your hormones will be regulated. Now, if, for example, no, nagkaroon kayo ng increase of thyroid hormones, once na ma-inhibit niya yung mga regulatory steps na to, your thyroid hormone goes back to normal. And then, the enzymes become activated again. Should your thyroid hormones drop below the normal, what happens is there is usually an increase of the synthesis of your hypothalamus, your thyrotropin releasing hormone, and as well as your TSH or your thyroid stimulating hormone in your pituitary gland. Okay, tapos ma-activate ngayon yung thyroid hormone mo. However, okay, yun yung physiologic. So there is a regulatory mechanism. Pero kapag nagkaroon ng problema sa regulation niya, okay, doon pumapasok yung mga tinatawag nating hyperthyroidism and hypothyroidism. Right? Okay. So the most common is, seen is your goiter. Okay? So goiter is primarily caused by iodine deficiency. Okay? Pwedeng yun, no? Which is the most common cause of your hypothyroidism worldwide. Problema dyan, or the good thing about iodine deficiency induced na goiter is, you just change the diet of the patient. Diba? You increase their iodine intake para, ano mangyayari? Mag-normalize siya. Kasi iodine-induced lang naman siya. Saan usually group of people natin nakikita yung mga iodine deficient patient natin, yung mga diet-induced na iodine deficiency? Yung sa mga, saan usually nakikita? Anong geographical area? Sige nga, any idea?
Doc, yung mga
Usually,
taga-province.
sorry, province? Province ba yung rinig ko?
Mga taga-mountain province po ba, Doc?
Mountain province. Okay. O, yung mga nasa mountain ranges, no? Yung mga malayo sa dagat. Okay? Because of that reason, no? Malayo sila sa dagat, so mostly their source of iodine is very low. Right? Kasi usually yung iodine natin, makukuha natin siya sa mga produce natin from the ocean. No? So this is what we call your endemic goiter. So it's a thyroid hypertrophy secondary to insufficiency of iodine intake. Most of the time, they have a low T3 and T4 level, hypothyroidism, okay, and an increase of your TSH. Bakit increase yung TSH? Kasi nga, yun yung hormone, di ba, na nagre-release ng T3 and T4 mo eh. So if your T3 and T4 are decreased, your brain will send an increased signal to your TSH, your thyroid stimulating hormone, to increase your T3 and T4. Right? No? Pero pagka na-correct na natin siya through proper diet, nagno-normalize naman yan. Okay? So wala tayong problema dyan. Next is your another pathology wherein you have goiter, okay, is your Hashimoto thyroiditis. Now, in contrast to your iodine deficiency, which is diet-induced, and you can correct it, Hashimoto thyroiditis is an autoimmune disorder wherein you have a antibody directed to your thyroglobulins. So usually, there is a destruction of your thyroid gland. Okay? Now, bakit ka nagkakaroon ng goiter? Kasi it compensates. Yung goiter mo kasi, the goiter is, of course, where your thyroid hormone is. Bakit siya lumalaki? Because there is too much synthesis of the hormone. Di ba pagka, kunyari, nag-exercise kayo, no? Nag-weight training kayo, di ba? Usually the muscles hypertrophy. Why? Because you induce increased stimulation in that area. No, work mo masyado yung area na yon. So it's the same. Even with your heart, you have cardiomegaly because your heart needs to work double time. So ganun din ang thyroid gland, no? So in the case of your endemic goiter or your Hashimoto thyroiditis, because you have a low level of your T3 and your T4, yung goiter mo o yung thyroid gland mo, nag-increase siya double time, nag-work siya double time, so lumalaki siya. So nagiging goiter siya. Nakakasunod? Class? Okay. So again, let's go back to your Hashimoto thyroiditis, no? So nagko-compensate ngayon yung thyroid gland because of an autoimmune disorder that destructs your thyroid globulins. So there is a low T3 and T4 with an increase again of your thyroid stimulating hormone or your TSH. How about your Graves' disease? Your Graves' disease also presents with goiter. But in contrast to the other two, no, your Hashimoto and your iodine deficiency, anong problema kay Graves' disease? May goiter siya, pero ano siya? Isa siyang hyperthyroidism. Di ba siya yung merong, ang tawag doon?
Ay, bulky.
Yung exophthalmos, yeah. Di ba? Kasi siya naman, hyperthyroid, but it also presents with goiter. No? So, class, it doesn't mean na kapag kayong pasyente mo ay may goiter, ay parating hypothyroid. Of course, there will, di ba, most likely you will see a patient with hypothyroidism na may goiter. But also remember, no, na your Graves' disease, okay, could also present with goiter. No? That was most common in female, particularly in yung mga 25 to 50 years old. Okay? Yung pwede na mag-conceive. Usually yung mga ganon. No? So it's also known as your toxic goiter or your diffuse toxic goiter. So just remember, class, among these three, it's only your Graves' disease that is in hyperthyroid state, but also with goiter. So it is also an autoimmune disorder, just like your Hashimoto thyroiditis. Okay, you have an antibody known as your LATS or your long-acting thyroid stimulator. So, ibig sabihin, ano nangyayari? Long-acting thyroid stimulator. So, from the name itself, it implies that it is a thyroid stimulator, a long-acting thyroid stimulator. So, parati siyang re-release ng iyong thyroid hormone. So, the manifestation, as I have mentioned earlier, you'll have your goiter, you'll have exophthalmos, no, yung bulging eyeballs, and hyperthyroidism. Remember that class, no? So if you have hyperthyroidism, your T3s and your T4s are increased. Okay? No? So next, move. Okay, so this is a table. I think I got this from First Aid, USMLE. No? It helps you to summarize yung mga um, manifestations ng iyong hypo and hyperthyroidism. Okay, you can take a screenshot of it if you want. Next is your parathyroid hormone. Sir, sama po ba yung parathyroid hormone?
Which one?
Yung parathyroid hormone, sir, kasama pa po.
Yeah, you can discuss it. Short lang naman.
Sige, sir. So, parathyroid hormone, class, hindi siya, hindi siya thyroid hormone. It's a different hormone. Okay? It is released by your parathyroid gland. No? So, magkaiba sila ng thyroid hormone. Kasi before, I got a question na parang, basta related na parang sinabi niya na parang thyroid hormone siya, no? So, saan siya banda sa thyroid hormone? So, it's a different hormone. It is secreted by your parathyroid gland. So, you have here a pro-hormone, which is your pro-parathyroid, which contains your hexapeptide. So, magkakaroon siya ng cleavage. No? You have your pre-pro-parathyroid hormone, this one, the long one, 115 amino acid sequence. Okay? Tapos you have your pro-parathyroid hormone, which only has a 25 amino acid sequence. Yung colored one lang siya. Okay? So, meaning these are your active sites. So, usually naman, class, pag sinabi mong pre-pro hormone, you still have the leader sequence, which will be removed later on. Okay? Class? Nakakasunod ba? No, so, and then you will be left with your parathyroid hormone. So, your parathyroid hormone has from amino acid 1 to 34, which is contains your full biological activity. Okay? Yung 25 to 34, those amino acids are responsible for receptor binding. So, sila yung nagbabind, yung amino acid na yon. But the whole sequence 1 to 34, it's your active parathyroid hormone. Okay? So, if you would look at the image here, galing ko lang ulit itong tab na to. So, you have here your parathyroid hormone. How is it synthesized? So, your parathyroid hormone responds to the level of your calcium in the body. Okay? So, yung serum calcium levels nyo, it affects whether your parathyroid hormone would be released or not. Okay? So, you have here your CASR or calcium sensing receptor. Okay? So, kapag nagkaroon ka ng decrease of calcium, okay, what happens? So, pag nagkaroon ka ng decrease of calcium level, yung calcium sensing receptor mo be activated, sending secondary signals into your hormones. Okay, yung mRNA natin. Okay? This mRNA will be synthesizing your parathyroid hormone. Okay? So, sige, let's just focus on this one nga, the image na lang, para medyo nakakasunod kayo dito sa mga negative and positives. If you have an increase of calcium in the blood, it will inhibit your parathyroid gene to release your parathyroid hormone. Okay? Pagka baba ang calcium level mo, mag-stimulate ka ng release of your parathyroid hormone. So basically, ganun lang siya. Okay? If you would analyze the image, let's just focus first on your calcium and your parathyroid hormone release. Kasi nabanggit ko kanina na your parathyroid is dependent on the calcium levels of your body. So if you have an increase of calcium level, your parathyroid hormone will not be synthesized. No, mai-inhibit siya. If you have a decrease of your calcium level, thyroid hormone is released. Nakakasunod? Okay? No? Opposite. Basta pag mababa ang calcium, mag-i-increase si parathyroid mo. Pag mataas ang calcium, bababa si parathyroid. Now, how is this related to your vitamin D? Your vitamin D, okay, inhibits your synthesis of your parathyroid hormone. So, an increased level of your vitamin D inhibits synthesis of your parathyroid. Okay? Nakakasunod, class? Yun lang yung ibig sabihin ng image na to. Can follow? Yes? Thumbs up? If yes, okay. Next? Okay, good. So this is another image wherein we can see the activity of your parathyroid hormone. So for example, if you have, sabi ko kanina, di ba, decreased level of your calcium, it activates your parathyroid glands. Your parathyroid glands are found in your thyroid gland. No? Nandun siya. So there would be a release of your parathyroid hormone. Now what happens? If there is a release of your parathyroid hormone, since you have a decrease of your ionized calcium, what happens is it acts on your renal tubular cells to reabsorb calcium, okay, decreasing urine calcium excretion. Now, another important stimulator of your stimulant of your parathyroid hormone is also your phosphate group, and as I have mentioned earlier, your vitamin D. Okay, an increase of your phosphate will also activate your parathyroid hormone, the release of your parathyroid hormone, which will allow um, more phosphate excretion. Okay? As I have mentioned earlier, your vitamin D also regulates the release of your parathyroid hormone. A decrease of your vitamin D synthesis in your body allows your parathyroid hormone to be released, increasing your vitamin D3 synthesis. Okay? Again, you can take a picture of this, it's okay. Now, so when it comes to your intestinal absorption, if you have a decrease of your calcium levels, your parathyroid hormone will stimulate your vitamin D, okay, to increase your calcium absorption in your intestine and as well as in your urine. Ayun o. Diba? Release, ano nga siya eh, inhibit nga siya eh, yung calcium release nyo. In the bone, okay, because of your low level of calcium, there would be more bone resorption. So when you say resorption, calcium will be released from the bones. Naintindihan ba? Class? Okay? Now, if you would notice here, since there would be a synthesis of your vitamin D, the problem with your vitamin D is it also increases your phosphate serum levels, right? So, however, class, please take note that your PTH in your renal tubular cells increases your urine phosphate outputs. And an increase of your phosphate will also stimulate your kidneys to release your urine phosphate outputs. Okay? Nakakasunod ba, class? And at the same time, tingnan muna dito, no? You will see that your PTH directly stimulates your renal cells to inhibit phosphate reabsorption. So, meron pa rin tayong homeostasis. Nakakasunod ba, class? Now, once everything is increased again, of course, this will send a negative feedback inhibition to your parathyroid hormone para ma-regulate yung synthesis ng iyong calcium and release of your phosphate. Following? Okay. So, self-explanatory actually itong image na to. I've shown this to you before, right? No? Yung sa vitamin A, naalala nyo ba to, class? Hindi na. Hindi na. May nagsabing hindi. Okay. So, actually sa vitamin D, in-explain ko to sa vitamin D. So, sige na nga. Explain na lang natin, no? Madali lang naman siya. So, here, itong upper left nyo is low serum calcium. Hindi, na-cut ko lang siguro yung ano. This is from Devlin, if I'm not mistaken. Image B, high serum calcium. Image C, low vitamin D. Image D, excess vitamin D. So this is based on the action of your parathyroid hormone. So if you have a low calcium level, what happens is there is a release of your parathyroid hormone. Okay? And as well as a synthesis of your vitamin D. Remember kung saan nagsisynthesize ang vitamin D, di ba, class? Tapos, these two stimulates bone resorption kasi kailangan natin mag-increase ng calcium levels, right? Right? In the intestine, your vitamin D stimulates absorption of your calcium. Okay? Now, once you have an increased level of calcium, what happens now in the kidney? Okay, so in the kidney, when your vitamin D is 25 hydroxy vitamin D is present, what happens is what? Your kidney will inhibit or will decrease the excretion of your calcium. So magre-retain lang siya sa calcium para magkaroon ka ng increased serum level, calcium level. Now, if you have high serum calcium, the opposite occurs. Most of your calcium from your serum will be absorbed by the bone. There would be an increased excretion of your calcium levels. Okay? Now, your vitamin D becomes inactive. So magiging 24, 25 hydroxy vitamin D siya, di ba? The inactive form of your vitamin D. And in your intestine, there would be a decreased absorption. Now, when it comes to your low vitamin D, remember, parathyroid hormone can also help in stimulating, the the regulatory mechanism of your vitamin D. So, if your vitamin D is responsible for calcium homeostasis as well, wala kang vitamin D, si parathyroid hormone will still allow the bone resorption. Pero, in the absence of your vitamin D, the regulatory effect of your parathyroid hormone when it comes to calcium is quite low compared kung present si vitamin D. Look at these two image here. Okay? No? So, mas mababa. So, it would still allow your calcium levels to increase. There would still be bone resorption, but not as much as in the presence of your vitamin D. Why? Because pag nandyan si vitamin D, meron kang absorption of calcium. Dito, hindi masyado. No, walang action on your gut. Okay? Excretion also will be inhibited. But the calcium, the regulatory mechanism no, or the regulation of your calcium levels is not as much compared in the presence of your vitamin D. Now, look what happens if you have excess vitamin D. So, hindi rin siya okay. No? What happens is there would be an increase of your bone resorption, increased excretion also of your of your calcium. Kasi it's the parathyroid hormone that is responsible for kidney regulation. Okay? So, yun lang siya. No? Thyroid and parathyroid. The last but not the least, sorry, naman marami. Nang marami tayo, class. Kasi pag nagpa-break pa ako, lalagpas tayo ng 12 o'clock. So, while I'm preparing my next slide, rest for a while. Last na, adrenal hormones. Kasi matagal mag-open eh. So,
Class, did you discuss anatomy ba thyroid glands? Sa anatomy?
Yes
Tapos
po,
na kayo?
Doc.
Tapos na?
Tapos na po.
Okay, thank you. Mhm.
wait lang. Oh no, di ko makita yung renal.
Habang nag-prepare ng slide si Dr. Crisostomo, meron akong question. Ano ang favorite music genre ng mga thyroid glands? Natatawa naman kayo.
Ano?
Thai pop.
Oh no, hindi ko gets. Nako sir, sobrang hina ako sa jokes. So
Ha?
sorry. Tahimik na lang ako. Hinahanap ko pa yung PowerPoint ko.
Sabi ko Thai pop. Ayan, nasa chat box Thai pop. Hindi K-pop Thai pop. Natawa na kayo. Pagod na ba kayo?
Hindi namin na-gets, Doc. Pang high IQ po yung joke eh.
Kaya pa? Kaya pang lecture?
Kaya pa po, Doc, hanggang 5 p.m.
Di bali, kung man kayo eh. Um, what do you call this? Weekend naman na eh.
Wait lang, class. Aha. Sige, medyo ano din to, medyo overwhelming, but please, please, please stay with me. Ha? Ano na lang, hindi na lang lahat i-discuss. I mean, we'll just focus on the important ones na lang. Okay, renal system. So medyo nakakaano rin to. Hmm. Yeah. Okay. Okay, so these are our learning objectives. Now, describe the structure and biochemical functions of your glomerular basement membrane. Describe the formation of urine and its biochemical characteristic. Determine the hormones affecting renal function and explain the role of kidneys in gluconeogenesis. For this particular lecture, we will be focusing on the last two. Kasi hormones yung module nyo eh, di ba? So, we'll focus on the last two. Okay? We'll send you this slide, no, a PDF of this. So the major function of your renal gland, or sorry, of your kidneys primarily is for filtration, no, filtration of toxins, reabsorption of important molecules. Kagaya kanina, di ba? There could be reabsorption of your calcium, reabsorption of your glucose, reabsorption of your phosphate if it's needed by the body, right? No, tapos secretion and of course excretion. So it metabolizes drugs. It maintains your acid-base and acid-base balances. It is regulated by your AGH, your vasopressin, your RAAS, your norepinephrine, and your dopamine. Okay. Now, sige, I will just send this one to you. I will not be discussing it. Medyo direct to the point naman to, no? So, hindi ko na siya masyadong i-discuss. Okay? But of course, now your glomerular filtration barrier depends on different components. Now, if these components becomes destroyed, kunyari, masyadong malaking molecule na pipilit niyang lumabas, like your glucose or your proteins, diba? Masisira mo yung structure ng inyong glomerular basement membrane. No? We'll just focus on some important things here. We have your type 4 collagen, which provides the elasticity and resistance to hydrostatic pressure kasi sa kidneys natin mataas yung fluid content niya, no? So it creates a good resistance to hydrostatic pressure para yung filtration capability ng iyong glomerular basement membrane will be very efficient. Okay? So again, I will just be sending this one to you. Ito naman well, it's important, no? I would just like you to go over here. I would like to emphasize na in your urine, proteins and sugars are not normally released. No? They are virtually zero. Especially our medical technicians here, they know that. No, na hindi mo makikita yan. Right? There could be some RBCs, especially in female, no? Lalo na kung nagme-menstruate yung babae, right? Pero sa lalaki, again, it's very rare. Kasi hindi naman sila nagme-menstruate. Diba? So, usually, ano ba yung mga kinoconsider natin kapag nag-i-increase yung RBC? Merong gumagasgas doon sa iyong, anong tawag dito? Ureter. No? Yung ureter wall natin, pwede. So, ano yung pwedeng mga gumasgas? So, mga kidney stones natin. Right? No? Pagka nagkaroon ka ng mga increase of oxalates, ganyan, pwede siyang mag-accumulate tapos gumagasgas siya. So, usually, this is a high consideration sa mga, especially sa males. Right? No? So, females, you have to ask for the LMP of the patient kasi pwedeng paparating na yung menstruation ng female, so nagkakaroon tayo ng increased RBC. No? Or minsan, kapag nag-urinalysis as meron yung patient, yung female, of course, no, you would expect na increase of RBC. Sometimes there would also be increase of your WBC. Yung WBC natin, usually naman, increased yan kapag nagko-consider tayo ng infectious diseases within the urinary tract. Okay? So, crystals, of course, no, yung mga CAS natin, yan. Kapag meron tayong urinary tract infections, no, and stones How about epithelial cells? Class, when you take your urinalysis, parati namin sinasabi sa patient na yung panggit ng stream, panggit ng ihi. Huwag yung unang labas. Malalaman yan ng lab kapag kayong naka-ready ng ganon yung cup, 'di ba? Tapos sinalo yung unang release of urine. Bakit? Kasi when the urine goes out of your urethra, may epithelial cells dun eh. So sasama yon doon sa sample mo. So hindi malinis yung sample mo, technically. No? So pag nakita namin, lalo na sa clinic na, ay, ang dami epithelial cells, so malamang hindi tama yung pagkakuha ng sample niya. Okay, so we have to repeat. We have to ask the patient to repeat it para lang ma-rule out yung anything pa, no, na kung ano man. So we ask the patient to repeat it and then instruct the patient na yung panggit ng ihi po, the midstream. Yun yung kukunin. Kasi na-wash out na lahat ng dirt, lahat ng epithelial cells, no? Tapos you get a relatively clean sample. Right? O, yun siya. Okay? So, on the bottom right, you will see there the normal values. No? And this one, siguro ang papamemorize ko lang sa inyo yung medyo common. No? Yung mga proteinuria natin, ang pagka nagkaroon ka ng glucosuria, what does it mean? Okay, you have blood in the urine or if you have bile in the urine. Okay, medyo ipapass down ko na to kasi ano naman to masyadong clinical. Now, let's go to your gluconeogenesis. Ayan, tsaka ito, importante itong mga next kong ano. So, your kidney is one of the organs that is responsible also for gluconeogenesis. The kidney usually helps kapag ka masyado nang nasa late fasting and starvation state si patient. Okay? It helps your pancreas and your liver to stimulate, to maintain a normal amount of glucose in the blood. And this is the process. And as you can see here, class, it's almost the same as your normal gluconeogenesis. Naalala niyo ba yung gluconeogenesis niyo, class? Yes? Hindi na, no? Naalala pa ba? Okay, so basically, as you can see here, no, it's almost the same talaga, class. Now you have your lactate, okay, which allows your its conversion to your pyruvate, okay, and then going back to your glucose. But at the same time, class, you will see here that your ammonia, 'di ba, yung inyong disposal of your ammonia, right? No, it could help also contribute to the levels of your oxaloacetate during the fasting state. Okay? Pwede rin siya. So, I would not discuss this one in detail because you already know this, yung gluconeogenesis. What if we have this one? A 50-year-old diabetic male had an overnight fast for blood extraction for cholesterol. Urinalysis has an increase of your proteinuria and your glucosuria. What I want us to consider now is your transport system. So, we have, ano yung kaso natin? 50-year-old diabetic. So, when you have diabetic patient, it's quote-unquote normal for them to have an increase in your blood sugar level. Tama ba? Right? Okay. So, for blood extraction for cholesterol, urinalysis had proteinuria and glucosuria. So, bakit nagkaroon ng glucosuria yung patient? So, this is your interstitium. This is your tubular lumen. Okay? We will discuss the renal handling of your glucose. Okay, so what happens here? Wait lang, ayaw niyang mag-move. Okay. So, we have here a pathway wherein that under normal physiologic conditions, the kidneys reabsorb virtually 100% of your glucose. Diba? Kaya nga sa urinalysis wala tayong glucose. No? Now, we have a renal threshold. So, this renal threshold is the capacity of the kidneys to reabsorb glucose back to the bloodstream. Okay? And we also have your transport maximum, wherein the rate of which the transporters are already saturated with your solutes. So meaning, merong renal capacity, glucose renal capacity yung kidneys natin. If that is surpassed, ang mangyayari, magtatapon ngayon ng glucose sa ihi yung kidneys mo. Okay? So, glucose is filtered in your proximal convoluted tubules with the help of your SGLTs, or what we call your sodium glucose transporters. Right? Remember, di ba meron din tayong SGLT sa iyong intestine? Right? Okay. Now, so here, meron din tayong SGLT sa iyong kidneys. So these are responsible for your as glucose transporters. And of course, you still have your glucose transporters. Right? So your SGLTs, which is usually present in your luminal side, as you can see there. Can you see it? Yung lumen? Yung lumen is in the left, no? Parang naglalag kayo. Hindi ka, oh, ako yung naglalag. I don't know, no? Parang minsan nakahang. So anyway, you have there your SGLT1 and you have your SGLT2, which are present in the luminal membrane, okay, which transports glucose from the lumen through the intracellular medium where glucose accumulates and it generates a gradient that favors its transport through your glucose transporters, which is usually your GLUT2 transporters. No? So doon siya, nasa basolateral membrane, and then it goes to your interstitium. Now, there are two types of SGLTs. You have your SGLT1 and your SGLT2. As you can see there in the image, SGLT1 and 2 siya. The SGLT1 has high affinity but low, or is a high affinity, low capacity transporters. It makes use of your sodium potassium ATPase. So, yung SGLT1 mo is more of an active process kasi gumagamit siya ng sodium potassium ATPase pump. Si SGLT2 rather, is a low affinity and high capacity transporter. So, si SGLT2 mo has better capacity to reabsorb your filtered glucose. So, siya yung mas mataas yung capacity to bring glucose back into the interstitium. Okay? Now, meron tayong mga gamot na anti-diabetic drugs that are SGLT2 inhibitors or SGLT inhibitors, right? As doctors, it's important for you to recognize if your patient is taking in SGLT inhibitors. Kasi pag pinakuhaan mo ng urinalysis yan, you will expect that meron siyang glucosuria. Kasi nga, it's the way of the, parang the mode of action of that SGLT2 inhibitor is to remove glucose from the body by inhibiting the SGLT2 transporters of the kidney. Naintindihan? Diba? Kasi anti-diabetic drug siya eh. So ano ba yung mga anti-diabetic drugs natin? What is their mode of action? Is to lower the blood glucose level of your patient. So SGLT2 inhibitors or SGLT inhibitors, what they do is they inhibit your SGLT2 para yung glucose mo hindi siya ma-reabsorb back. So ang tendency, ang glucose mo ngayon lumalabas. Kaya ang pasyente na diabetic na umiinom ng SGLT inhibitor, you will see na glucosuria siya. That's why you have to have also yung blood glucose level ng patient mo. HbA1c or your fasting blood glucose level to compare. Okay? So pag medyo nag-normalize yung blood glucose na, ibig sabihin, talagang yung glucosuria niya, it's because nagbababa ng glucose yung gamot. Naintindihan ba, class? Okay? So, meron din tayong tinatawag na familial renal glucosuria. Familial renal glucosuria is a deficiency of your SGLT2. So, patient may not be diabetic, pero may glucosuria siya. Kasi there is an inhibition of your SGLT2, which is the one responsible to reabsorb your glucose. When we say reabsorption, putting back the glucose to the blood. Right? Okay? Nakakasunod? Okay. So, ano yung isa na? May proteinuria siya, no? So, okay. Bakit nagkakaroon ng proteinuria yung patient? Bakit lumalabas yung proteins? Proteins are big molecule. Right? So, kapag ka nagkaroon ng proteinuria yung patient, usually it's because of the chronic hyperglycemia as what is seen in patients with type 2 diabetes. So, pag nagkaroon ng chronic hyperglycemia yung patient, what happens is the morphological features of your podocytes are your cells in your basement membrane that is responsible for the filtration. Kapag ka merong chronic hyperglycemia yung patient, tapos parating natatapon yung glucose sa ihi ng pasyente, ibig sabihin, napipilitan yung kidneys mo to dispose of glucose. So, nagkakaroon ngayon ng morphological derangements doon sa filtration barrier ng iyong kidney. So, kapag ka nangyari yon, okay, what happens is, your proteins now starts to go out, starts to be excreted. That's why they say that proteinuria or an increase of protein in the urine is one of the cardinal features of kidney disease in patients. Ibig sabihin, nasisira na talaga yung kidney ng pasyente kasi nagtatapon na siya. No? So proteinuria is usually a prolonged or a complication of prolonged glucosuria. That's why it's important na kailangan you try to save the kidneys of the patient who are diabetic. Okay? So next, a 30-year-old male with massive edema. Edema means accumulation of water, no? Doon sa ating interstitial spaces. Yung mga manas, in other words, manas. Do you know what manas is? Okay. Due to nephrotic syndrome. To control the edema, he was given the following diuretics: furosemide, spironolactone thiazide. Creatine level is at 400 micrometer mol per liter. Cystatin levels of 1.9, and patient was asked for hemodialysis. So what happens here? I will send you this slide. No? So diuretics are medications that promotes diuresis. Ano yung diuresis? Pag-ihi. Di ba? Madalas kang wiwiwi. No? Marami tayong mga pagkain na diuretic din. Caffeine, coffee, di ba? No? So, sweets, diuretics yan. Kasi ini-increase mo kahit paano yung sugar level mo. So, medyo magtatapon ka ng sugar sa ihi. So, ang gagawin, pag lumabas si sugar sa urine, pupunta lahat ng water doon. But apparently, si sugar marireabsorb yan. Right? So, kaya diuretic sila. No, kaya pag exam, huwag kayong iinom ng maraming kape o kakain ng maraming chocolates kasi magwiwiwi kayo. No? So, para ma-conserve, you drink, naman, yung mga salty food, para papasok naman yung, nyo, no? Yung tubig. But anyway, so, yun, diuretic siya. It's not just medication, no? It's also in your food. Okay? So, this is the process wherein, you have the action of your medications. So, sorry, nalimutan ko lang, no? Meron siyang furosemide, spironolactone, and your thiazides. Okay. So, meron tayong different medications that affects particular levels in your kidneys. Okay? So, we have here your carbonic anhydrase inhibitors. So, your carbonic anhydrase inhibitors, such as your acetazolamide, inhibits reabsorption of your filtered bicarbonate. Okay? So, usually, this occurs in the proximal tubule. Okay? So, what happens? Ano ba yung ginagawa ng, wait lang. So, in this part, you have your sodium reabsorption. Sorry, anong oras na uno? Sige, ganito na lang. So, already 12:12 na pala. Hindi ko maalala kasi kung saan ang nito. Ganito na lang. It's already late. I will send you my slides. Um, tama. I'll send you my slides na lang. Tapos kung may questions, email me. Okay lang ba yon? Kung meron kayong hindi maintindihan sa slides, email nyo na lang sa akin. So, regulation of sodium and water. I'll just send this to you. Okay? Or probably I'll send you a recorded lecture, whichever. Kung gusto nyo na lang ng question and answer through Gmail, pwede rin sa akin yon. Okay? Kasi may class pa kayo ng 1. Okay? Masyado ng overwhelming. Okay? So, I have to cut my lecture. I'm so sorry. But I will be sending you my slides na lang. Especially the renal. Ha? Sige. So, have your lunch. Prepare for your next lecture. So, 12:15 na. Magka 12:15 na. So, sir, ano na lang po, maghihintay na lang ako